decided to possibly, make mockery of this, especially some of you who believes that they deserve it. You have no idea what you are doing. Or maybe you do. It is just that a lot of you are suffering from the trauma of what Nigeria has become to a lot of you, damaged people. Nigeria is still one country right now, so internally fractured, divided against itself, enough that it is to the advantage of the criminal politicians, especially the APC, Egbetokun. We know that the supposed Arraigned leaders, the northern criminal leaders who have been using these children, who denied them education. They denied them, they dipped their parents into perpetual poverty so that they could keep them under the control for political gain. They are all alive. They are all watching. They have all paid lip services. Lip service to the danger of alimajiri. They have paid lip services that it is bad, it should be fixed, but none of them is interested in fixing it, because fixing it simply means they are likely not going to have the multitude, these massive uneducated citizens that they could manipulate for political gains every 4 years. But the chicken has come home to roost. Rather than keep control of this multitude, what they are battling with now is abject generational poverty plus groundswell availability for recruitment, for terrorism recruitment, so to say. Now, these children, during elections, they will push them, including those Uluri Buruku Afas or Sheikil that you have in northern Nigeria. They will intimidate and threaten electoral officers to register them as adults. Take a look at this one. The one on the let me see, look at that child, the first frame. Then look at the one next to it, Abdul James. All fake names. Darama Emmanuel, Darama Yusuf. When you look at their date of birth and look at their faces, you can automatically tell that these are the Alimajiri children. Children abandoned, uneducated, left to fend for themselves at a very tender age of, maybe some of them were thrown on the streets at the age of 2, 3 to go and beg. Now, you see this child that's seated there to take his biometric picture and all of that during the INEC registration exercise. Behind him are adults, grown-up men and women who are there to intimidate and threaten the electoral officers. In the last charade called election, people raised the alarm of these names in their electoral register, and then Mahmoud Yakub promised to remove them, all those underage voters, but he never did. And when election came, they gave all of them voters' card to go on and vote for APC, Egbetokun. And APC, Egbetokun today, is showing them the shege, and not just them, including all of us. So if you have any modicum of humanity in you, you are never going to really judge them by this. Those who enabled this are the cold-hearted criminals, the bedsheet wrapping, the bedsheet wrapped head rogues who are reading Arabic to them in northern Nigeria. They are responsible for this. Now, after elections, they throw them back onto the streets, hungry, starving, and totally abandoned. So they are currently possibly looking away because they will wait till 2026 when they will get them back again and give them voters' card to come and do their political bidding again. But here is something they have all gained. This one is not for you now. Those of you who are calling it karma. that they should be treated that way. If they are old enough to vote, they should be old enough to go to jail. You see, if you do not kind of see this as a self-inflicted ruin as well, because you know something, these children were able to stand up when there is a call to say, you know what, we are suffering, there is hardship, this government has failed. They did not hesitate to come out. They didn't say, if they did know what they are doing, or they didn't say, but we voted for them now. At least they told us to vote for APC, and we did. So we cannot come out and say we are hungry. No, they didn't. They came out because they are hungry indeed. But you see those criminal politicians in northern Nigeria, their own days, their days are numbered. I can promise you that. Currently, majority of them can't even go back to their own constituencies anymore. They would rather stay in the state capital or stay in Abuja. That is their own karma already. Few of them that managed to dare them. Some of them have been killed. Their family members have been kidnapped. Their properties have been destroyed by the children that they gave false age and all that too, so that they could use them to rig elections. Now, despite this, there was the time that Goodluck Egbetokun was building schools for these children. It was the same political class in northern Nigeria. It was the same clerics in northern Nigeria who decided to criminalize it. It was called Aram. It was an Aram for them to go to school. So that it could be like this. Now the chicken has come home to roost. Not only that these clerics and their whatever it is, they are not safe too. If you see some of them in northern Nigeria today, they walk about with different kind of security. Yeah. When you see them flowing in the agbada, pretending to be leaders and elders, you need to go and check very well. They have with them a lot of security guys, gun-wielding security men. They can't walk freely in the same northern Nigeria that they have been, they have been grooming these children. It's not safe for them, and it is not safe for Nigeria. So, if you sit there and you think judging them or being on the side of the oppressors that used and dumped them is to satisfy your own, whatever it is that you are probably feeling. Because I have read a lot of horrible comments. Those who felt like, remember there was a time in Nigeria, I think this was like about, 7-8 years ago, or maybe even 9 years ago. Yeah, before APC, Egbetokun. Then the early years of APC, Egbetokun, when Bukwari came on, remember? Yeah, then it used to be a fashion. It was like an in thing. Then to say, for example, if news says 25 people killed in Kano, 40 people kidnapped, 80 people injured. The Southerners, most of these Southerners, they will be like, that's their business. Make them sure no bring them to the South. Some even agreed back then, like you are laughing now. Some of you are laughing and justifying it now. Back then, some will be like, well, that's your own problem, Jari. Boko Haram just killed the emir of Zungeru. They say, well, that's their problem. Are they not the ones who are like, promoting Islamic this, Islamic that? Maybe they shall not bring them to the South. Boko Haram just kidnapped 50 people. They say, well, that's their problem. Today, it is no longer the northern Nigeria problem, insecurity of this magnitude. It is now the Nigeria problem. Southerners are now paying ransom. Yorubas are paying ransoms to Fulani terrorists. Igbos are paying ransom to Fulani terrorists. Ijos are paying ransom to Fulani terrorists. It has now become a national and nationwide thing. It got so bad that even the royal fathers are not spared. I'm talking about royal fathers that are like thousands of kilometers away from them. Some are not even so lucky. They got killed after being kidnapped, after ransom being paid. So this is the example of it. You see, these children, And what Nigeria is doing, or what Nigeria has done to them and still doing to them, is there to consume every one of us eventually. I know some of you will say to yourself, still, that's their problem. It's their this. It's none of your business. Until when that thing happened to you. Normally we say, may Nigeria not happen to you. May Nigeria not happen to you. Somebody said, if they say Nigeria will happen to you, it better make you cuckoo like go buy yourself. Because if Nigeria happen to you for real, Papa, then you may regret ever being born, ever. So the point I'm making here is this. To those of you who are making running commentaries, yeah, commentaries like that is their problem. It is not your own problem. Okay. Oh, they should go and face their leaders who are like using them. Fine. I shouldn't make you the point of my conversation though, because somehow you are just ignorant. Okay. As long as this contraption is what it is, the likes of Tifnumbu and Co, they will continue to use a situation like this to further send a message that, yeah, it's happening to them now. It's going to happen to you too, maybe in a different way. Some even said, I read it somewhere, where some are now saying that even Bokwari was a very compassionate person. Bokwari was a murderer. He's a genocidist. Bokwari laid foundation for this sort of human rights abuses, killings, where the state can always deny. They can always pretend that, or change the story in the midst of killing Nigerians. Somebody said that, who knows, maybe some of them have even died in their detention. We may never know. No, we may never know. But Bokwari is not a good example to say, oh, Tifnumbu is this, and Bokwari was better. Bokwari was evil. I'm talking about the real evil. Bokwari's time saw thousands of people disappeared in eastern Nigeria. Some of you will hear some of these things and you'll be shocked. Really? I didn't know that. Okay, what if you knew? What would you have done? Since it didn't happen to you, you are likely just going to brush it aside with a wave of hand, like, oh, it's none of my business. People were disappearing in eastern part of Nigeria because Bokwari wanted to teach them a lesson. It was speaking to them in the language that they understood.
Within whatever resources we have to make sure we meet all your demands so that no excuse can be given for any failure. So I expect you, what is happening in the southeast, attacking police station, killing the police, taking away arms and ammunition. Now, for those of us who are unfortunate to be in the field for the 30 months of the civil war, to see the carnage of how we kill ourselves, at least 1 million people, I think those that are misbehaving, they were either too young, they didn't know what happened. But for those of us who went through all these things, we can't understand. So we will treat them in the language they understand. So I feel for your understanding and so on. We are going to be very hard sooner than later. We have done our best, changed the service chiefs and the IG. We allow them time to go around to make necessary changes for them to be firmly in charge. We'll try and give them the resources they require, and we will demand security sooner than later. I thank you very much for your presentation. I assure you that this administration will do whatever we can do for you so that we don't give anybody excuse to blame us that we don't want to go or want to have a third term. Thank you very much. Within whatever resources we have to make sure we meet all your demands.
He wasn't going after the real criminals, the politically sponsored criminals. Let me give you a backstory to that nonsense he said there. The Fulani terrorists, they invaded the southern part of Nigeria, including the eastern part of Nigeria. Ebonyi, Anambra, Abia, Enugu, Imo. People were screaming, reporting that almost every time. Oh, the Fulani terrorists just entered our farm, or they attacked us, videos everywhere. The politicians of Eastern Nigeria, they looked away. In fact, today, do you know the reason why I call it Devulumai or Devumai, while I call him Devulumai, is because of how he just changed between 2017 and 2019. It was massive. It was a PDP governor that regularly it will go to this part of Ebonyi State where these Fulani terrorists, they were wrecking havoc, okay? And they will make videos and say, well, you know, we had a deal with them. We had a meeting with their leaders that they will not do this again. I'm so sorry, everyone. That we will do everything to make sure that, you know, we protect you. He never did anything. Similarly, in Anambra, Obaino was their governor then, right? It got so bad that to placate them, Obaino actually offered them, one of them, the Fulanis, he offered them special advisor to the governor on security matter so that he could bring them closer. He also went to a church and told the people in the church that he has struck a deal with the Fulanis that if the Fulanis kill, if anybody kills a Fulani cow, that person will pay the Fulani man 150,000 naira. If a Fulani man kills anybody in the course of the Fulani man will pay the family 500,000 naira. He said that boldly in a church. And people clapped. Hallelujah. Because that was his own solution to peace. Then hopeless Uzodingba happened to them in the eastern part of Nigeria. That was when the all hell let loose. Devulumayi jumped and crossed to APC. Hopeless Uzodingba became governor. Nnamdi Kanu then launched what he called the ESN, Eastern Security Network. And their assignment was to stay in the bush and chase these Fulani terrorists and their cows completely out of Igbo land. That didn't go down well. Number one, it was a shock the day. And this was December 20, I think it was December 2019 or December 2020. December 2020. Nnamdi Kanu just released this massive video of thousands of volunteers in black dress, right? Like in black uniform. And he said they are the ESN. How did he manage to assemble this massive number of young people, volunteers? They wanted to be the local vigilantes, security, like the forest rangers. Their job is to be in the forest, like the forest rangers. That shook not only the Eastern politicians, it shook Nigeria. A lot of people were wondering, how did he do it? How did he come by all of this? There was no display of gun or anything. It was just volunteers, okay, who were going through different trainings and all that, you know, like physical trainings and all that. I still remember they called an emergency meeting in Abuja. And that emergency meeting involved all the Igbo governors and some of their other politicians. Are you guys lying to us that you are not the one sponsoring this Nnamdi Kanu? I said, no, we have no idea at all. We have no idea. It's okay, where did this take place? Go. Which of the states did this whole recruitment happen that he was able to gather all this number of young people? They couldn't answer. But they provided their own solution. They said, you know what? What we are going to do is that we will do what we can, number one, right, to get this IPOB prescribed. Then number two, we are going to create a division in North to actually see that they do not have such influence that they think they are going to have. And number 3, we will create an alternative security. And they went to work straight away. They started with the 3rd one, create an alternative security. You remember how they've been calling the soldier, the military, they've been calling the police to come and defend their people in Enugu, in Owerri, I'm sorry, in Imo, in Ebonyi, in Anambra, in Abia. And Nigerian police never responded. So they decided to go and look. In fact, I think I have an image. The person who started it. And this was a Devulumayi. Immediately they returned back to eastern part of Nigeria. Devulumayi, Oples Zodigba, Obaino, and many others. They said they were going to launch their own security force that will be the official, and anything associated with Nnamdi Kanu will be called non-state actors. So, on the day of launching their Ebubeagu was to replace, and this was after ESNO. The intention is not to start Ebubeagu to protect the Easterners. The intention is to get as many political options as possible together to now go after anybody identified as a member of either IPOB or a member of ESN. So that was their job, not to go after the Fulani terrorists. Remember that the ESN was supposed to be Eastern Security Network that was supposed to be like the forest rangers. Their primary assignment is to actually be in the forest. They are never to be seen in the city. They are never to be found in your towns. Nowhere near. No. This was supposed to be like, you won't see them coming. Their job is to protect the farmers in eastern part of Nigeria. Then the political class hijacked it by setting up what they call Ebubeagu. Maybe if you have ESN, and then you also have Ebubeagu, they are supposed to be for the protection of the interest of the Igbos, Abi, protect them from this Fulani, invading Fulani, others. No. This Ebubeagu now became armed with different kind of weapons. And they are always in the city. Guess who they are looking for? They started going to the houses of any known member of IPOB. The moment you are known as a member of IPOB, you are automatically considered as a member of ESN. Then they started torturing people. People started disappearing. So when they capture when they arrest anyone, they will take them to their base, torture them, to give them information on any known ESN member or commander or anybody they know. And when they torture so many of them, they started giving information about people they kind of suspected to be ESN members. So it now became the war between Ebubeagu of the Eastern politicians, Eastern governors, and the ESN of Nnamdi Kanu. They went on to fractionalize IPOB enough. So what you now have there today, where brothers are going after brothers today. So the politically sponsored criminals in eastern part of Nigeria, right? Once they they were doing everything as well. We didn't know then that they were also working on how to get Nnamdi Kanu kidnapped, dead or alive, anywhere in any part of the world. They were spending so much looking for him because they surprised them. According to them, if Nnamdi Kanu wanted all of them dead, all he had to do is just to say, oh yeah, go ahead and kill them, and he will kill all of them. They were so scared. How did he have such influence that he could convince young people, and he could actually organize this kind of training secretly that they never got any intel? Nigeria don't get any intel. Many people didn't know anything how he kind of came about this number of young people for ESN. That was the day they put a target on his back. Now we can see what they have achieved in 4 years of this effort. A lot of people disappeared, including women and children from eastern part of Nigeria. It got so bad, right? That even as far as River State, where the wicked joined in the bandwagon, I'm telling you, that they kidnapped over 100 women. man, that just brought back some terrible memories, man. They kidnapped some women, over 100 of them. Guess where they locked them up? Nobody knew. For over a year, they took them from Igbo land and they locked them up in Suleja in Niger State. And no member of their family knew. They were killing people and dumping their bodies in rivers in Imo State. Once they suspected that you are a member of ESN, it was so panicky. But look at what they have done. So Boko Haram ensured of that.